thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of Living in Marteloup. My name is Bryon Howard, and today on the show, I have Marie-Eve Mayrand. Welcome to the show, Marie-Eve.
Thank you, Bryon.
Marie-Eve and I met 3 years ago. We were just recollecting when I hitched a ride with her to travel down to a snow kiting festival in Montana. I think it was probably February of 2017, maybe?
I think it was, yes.
And we have had quite a few adventures since that time. Marie-Eve, tell us a little bit about your current situation and your business, primarily focusing on Kitesomewhere. What's going on with Kitesomewhere and what's going on with Marie-Eve these days?
So I do have a business that is called Kitesomewhere. What I do for Kitesomewhere is, first of all, I do instruction. So I can teach snow kiting and water kiting as well, and I do sell equipment. So my main focus on the equipment is the brand called Mystic for all wetsuit harnesses, things like that. And I also sell FLYSURFER kites under Kitesomewhere, as well as Slingshot foil and other brands anyway. So yeah, so right now, I also, another part of my business is I work for FLYSURFER as a sales and marketing manager for Canada, USA, and Mexico.
Wow. Okay. So that's a quick overview of, your business and basically kiting, but we're here in Alberta, Calgary.
Yes.
Can you kite here? What are you talking about?
Oh, for sure we can. I kite, you know me, Ryan. So I kite a lot in Alberta. Winter we kite in the mountains and also on frozen lake around Calgary. So basically I can kite mostly 4 or 5 days a week, no problem during winter time. Summertime it involves a lot of driving. So south of Calgary, north of Calgary, east of Calgary as well. But once, like, we have so much wind around Alberta, especially south of Alberta, of Calgary, so it's we kite in lakes. The beauty of kiting in Calgary is there's fewer people, so we have our beaches almost for ourselves sometimes. So it's great, good place to be actually. Yeah.
Very good. And what about so is the kiting community in Alberta a big community, or what is the network like?
It's a small community, but it's a tight one. Everyone knows each other, so which is great. So we talk to each other a lot. We share places to go kiting, and when it's windy, everyone goes to the same spot. So it can be on a very sunny day, we can have like 40 kites on the ground, ready to get lunch and go in the water. So it can be great. Sometimes on a weekday, I can be by myself or 2 people max to some more remote lakes, but it's a very tight community and everyone knows each other. So everyone are my friends now. It's my life.
It's your life. I know that for sure. So you've been kiting for a long time, and you've really explored it. You've done, I mean, you've been in probably almost every kiteable possible spot of Alberta. Well, not every, because there's lots. But tell us a little bit about what motivated you to open the business as you're running today. Tell us about the motivation process in, I guess your primary business is Kitesomewhere. Your secondary business, which is really picked up and is exciting for you and us and Albertans, is Blooming Marketing, where your primary client again is FLYSURFER, as you mentioned. Tell us a little bit about the motivation in starting Kitesomewhere.
So it went naturally, actually. So how it started, so I studied marketing. I have a marketing master degree from Laval University. And when I moved out here, I wanted to be, the marketing manager of a big corporation, which I had that job downtown Calgary. And I realized I'm such an entrepreneur. I cannot work from someone else. It's not, something that I drive for. So when I left the big corporation, I packed my car, I went kiting, and I landed my first contract with the kiting industry as a marketing person for 6 months. I did work for Core Kite Canada, and at the same time I landed another marketing contract, and I started that way to build my own business. So when I was traveling in Greece actually that summer, and talking about, okay, what am I doing next? Am I really ready to go back to an office or not? So, and I realized I want to start a kite blog about traveling because that's what I'm passionate about. So I started my kite travel blog and wrote about everywhere that I went kiting, and then I started teaching. I did my IKO certification to teach people because I like. Yeah.
I've been to your blog. What's the website address? We'll include the link, of course, in the show notes.
Yes, it's Kitesomewhere. It's
okay,
just
that's the blog.
yeah,
Okay.
it's inside of my website. I do sell stuff. It's an e-commerce website, but I have the travel blog based on it. So it's
beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been there, and
thank you.
It really looks great. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, I just started that way, and I kept going through that. So starting a business, especially in the kiting world, it's not easy in Calgary. So it took me sometimes to, it's like a roller coaster. 1 year it's good, and the first year it's like, what am I doing? But right now it's been 3-4 years that I'm fully entrepreneur, fully working on my own business, and it's a dream. It's exactly what I want it to be, and I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
And what are some of the things that your current clients, your customers love about your business and your work?
Well, like I said, I have the two phase. So I do teach with Kitesomewhere and sell equipment, but my other
and travel, right? You
and
bring
travel.
people like, I want to, hey, it's November. I'd like to learn to kite. I don't want to learn to kite in damn Alberta. Where do you will hook me up and take me and to where the wind's blowing and it's sunny.
Yes, I can totally do that. And I love doing that, actually, going on travel trips with clients and be able to show them kiting. It's the proper way to do it, actually. The other part is I work directly in the industry for FLYSURFER. So I do market the brand and sell the brand across Canada, US, and Mexico. So that's the other part of my business. So I think what people like about me is I'm very passionate about the sport. I work very hard and I'm very honest with my clients. So I think it's what people appreciate about me. So you get what you see, like that's me. And,
absolutely.
And since I'm very passionate about it, like people just love it. So they can see my passion and they can learn from it. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything exciting coming up that we should know about? Fellow Calgarians and in your own business, what's exciting?
What's exciting? Right now I just started with FLYSURFER, so doing the marketing and the sales for them. So that's the big excitement for me because it's exactly where I wanted to be, like landing a marketing and sales client in the industry was my dream job, my dream client. So it's exactly what I wanted to be. So that's what I'm going to work a lot for the year. Of course, I was supposed to be everywhere this summer in the US, traveling and participating to events. Unfortunately, most of the events have been canceled. So for now, we're just in a waiting mode to see what's going to happen in the industry. So so that's about it. Yeah.
I just want to bring our viewers and our listeners awareness to some of your events that you have traveled with and that I'm just like googly-eyed about, the ones that are just quickly come to mind. And maybe you could speak to a couple of them, some of your favorite events that possibly you were looking forward to this season that you're missing. I mean, so right top of mind is Vake in Norway. The Ragnarok Red Bull, you're a world champion 2 or 3 years ago. And then I mean, in Oregon, the Gorge, there's some big event that I know you participate in. There's the SQUAMISH Kite Clash, that the Canadian Nationals that you participated at, and I've been there witnessing and participating and having fun. Nitinat on Vancouver Island. So these are some of the like really exciting events in our country and well, I guess worldwide. You've been to South Africa recently for kiting with the great waves and wind that we have there, I guess December through March. So what were some of the events that you were looking forward to this season, or what's some of the exciting events for you and I mean maybe the kiting community in the next 12 months that some of our fellow peers are looking forward to?
Yeah, so the event that I was supposed to participate in March, April, that has been canceled was Vancouver, which is the event in the north of Norway in the Arctic. It's a 5 days expedition competition. So you have your sled, pack your camping gear and your kites, and you cross actually the area. It's 300 kilometers straight. So, but for sure, kiting, it's never straight. So you climb mountains, you go down, you go around. So unfortunately, that event was canceled for
And
this.
You did it the year prior, right?
Yes, I did
with another female. And this year you were planning on doing it with a top caliber male who I think won last year. Is that right?
Yeah, so I was doing it this year with Jonas, his name. So he's from Switzerland, and he won the event 3 times. So I was
so too bad that you didn't get to do it this year to get all that experience, eh?
I know. I'm so actually I was very disappointed about it, but
oh my, I
but
just
it's
can't
like,
imagine.
you know,
Yeah. Well, you're smiling, and I mean you're moving forward. That's great.
Exactly. So I've been so busy, so that's okay if it's canceled. But I was a little bit disappointed about it. I'm trying on snow. I'm trying to focus on expedition now. So I had some big talks with other folks to do bigger expedition this year, which I couldn't take, but maybe next winter I will take over and go ahead with that. So I don't want to name.
I'm dying. I want to know. I want to know. I mean, is there anything like, what about like Canada's North? Like, I'm completely interested in like kiting an expedition, Baffin Island, or anything
Let's
that
do it.
Is there anything that under your sleeve?
I was thinking about not Canada, some other places, but let's do it. Yeah, next year for sure. I would love to. So that's my main thing. Of course, the big thing in the kite surfing industry right now is that it's going to be part of the Olympic in Paris for hydrofoiling. So right now it's one of the big thing in 4 years. All the kite surfer are looking for that. So I'm not planning to do the Olympics. I think I'm getting too old for that. But of course, being part of the industry and working in the industry helps me being closer to everyone, all the team athletes we have actually. So maybe I will be there and support them and helping them launching our kites and hopefully cheers for them, for our team, because with FLYSURFER we have one of the fastest kite actually, and our new VMG2 that was supposed to be launched soon. It might be postponed a bit. We believe it's going to be one of the fastest kite out there. Hopefully.
I just want to write it. What's the name of that kite?
The VMG.
VMG, FLYSURFER 2.
Yeah, so
okay.
I can get you one if you want one.
Well, I want, but I'm not maybe in a position right now. I'm going to put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, totally. So that kite will be very, like I've seen the prototype and I've seen our team rider racing on it, and it's like very fast. It's going to be awesome. So of course, we're aiming for that and being close to our team. And on the freestyle area, Squamish is a good place to be. So Kite Clash has been canceled for this summer. However, they might look at doing the Canadian Freestyle Championship still. I'm not sure yet, but maybe. So if they do it, of course, I'm going to be there, participate, and be there for our team.
Interesting. So just on kiting, like say you talk about speed and that kite, the fastest kite, and then there's freestyling. Like as a kiter, I mean, I've been kiting kind of off and on. I think it's probably 3 to 5 years that I'm sort of becoming just a little bit like intermediate or above kind of level. What are for the listeners and the viewers, what are like the different disciplines of kiting? I'm starting to know what kind of kiting I like. So right now there's like a freestyling. So that's like back and forth off the beach, I think, and like showing people on the beach your tricks. And then there's the new thing more recently is foiling, which is fast and like free spirited, like riding a magic carpet. And then there's big air, what am I? Oh, then there's the whole snow
Oh yeah,
kiting,
there's
which is
so
very
many.
exploratory, and which is Alberta's amazing, and Montana is even more amazing. It seems, just because off the highway and the rolling hills are there in Wyoming.
Yeah.
What am I missing? Is there other aspects of the sports that like people have their different niches once they learn?
Yeah, that's the beauty of the sport because there are so many different style. So you're never bored because there's always something new, or you can find your own style. So there's, like you said, there's the freestyle. So the freestyle part is really doing the tricks. There's the big air, which are the people that try to jump as high as they can with the big kite loops. It's absolutely crazy to me, but it's so fun to watch. There's the surf components, so big waves. So there are some competition in the big waves for surf, but there's also a competition on freestyle on surfboard, strapless. So people just do crazy stuff on their surfboard right now. There's the hydrofoil, like you said, the speed. And now they're thinking about including hydrofoil freestyle. So that would be a new discipline.
Wow.
Maybe, I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not for this year. There's also the snow kiting. So there's a speed on snow kiting, the expedition part as well. What am I missing? I'm sure the free riding, just like going back and forward, like the beginners start with that for sure. There's the old school that they call as well, which is the board of doing the tricks and throw your board away and just taking it back and flip it and whatever.
That's my style.
That's your style?
My wannabe style.
That's a good one. So yeah, so that's the fun of kiting, because like other sport, there's so many styles that you never stop learning. You have a goal, you just go for it.
And now, Marie-Eve, you have really progressed in the sport, and your passions, like whatever you're focused on, you're just going for. And what is exciting for you right now? I think the expedition style, maybe you already mentioned it, but also freestyle. You continue to love freestyle. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love freestyle just because it's so many new tricks and just learning new stuff all the time. Of course, sometimes it can hurt a tiny bit because you can crash a little bit more. But that's the side I really appreciate. And right now I do focus on hydrofoil as well because it's so smooth, it's so fun. I really like hydrofoiling. So yeah, that's my three main one, I would say: snow kiting, freestyle, and of course hydrofoiling.
Interesting. And so I guess that's exciting, and it's exciting to watch you, because last time we really kited together, I mean, it really just seems like two plus years ago. And I think you were just kind of getting into the foiling, but you've probably come a long way since then. And how many boards have you owned since that time? We don't need to go there.
I don't need to go there.
This girl does not skimp on equipment.
No. Well, my house is actually, there's equipment everywhere, in the kitchen and the living room and the bedroom.
So Maria, this, as you know, this show, it really focuses on, living in Calgary and lifestyle, and, generally really Marda Loop mission area where you live. What do you love most about living central Southwest Calgary?
Yeah, it's awesome. I actually, we're close to everything, basically. Close to the 4th Street, with great restaurants, with great places to stop for coffee and everything. The community is really, really good as well. So we've been flooded during the flood in Calgary, and we got to meet all of our neighbors, and like everyone is so friendly in our street. It's we help each other basically, and we take care of each other, which I've never seen in other city. So that's one thing I really like about the area. And the other thing is because we're so central, that if I decide to go to the mountains, it's central for me. If I go south of Calgary, I'm central as well, same as north. So it's a good place to be. It's a good place for my clients as well when they come home and want to talk about kiting. It's they don't have to travel the whole city to come here. So it's it's a good place to be. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And we're in the middle of COVID-19 times. You were hoping to probably get out and do lots of snow kiting this past month or two. How is your business being affected by COVID-19? I know personally, I was excited about buying a new FLYSURFER snow kite. Like, 6 weeks ago, and that stopped. I know
Yeah.
that you were affected by at least one sale. How is business? And more about, can you talk to me about a little bit about maybe the lessons? Like, I know you teach, of course, and how is COVID-19 impacting your business, and how do you see it impacting your business in the next 3 or 4 months?
Well, for now, the lessons are not going on,
You
so
can't
I
social
can't.
distance one-on-one even?
No,
No.
I thought about it, and you know what? I decided not to do it.
Okay.
It would be unfair. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm not doing it. For selling equipment, you know what? Some people have been taking this downturn time to look at what they have as equipment, and we saw some parts and trying to, you know, people are just taking care of what they have right now, so they're adding a piece here and there. So of course we're not selling as much, but the whole industry is hurt. Basically, we're not selling as much. However, I've personally been very busy, so the COVID-19 for me has been has arrived at the right time. It's bad to say that, but I travel so much all the time, and I was supposed to be in Norway coming back. Like, I was in Germany in February, came back home, went to Mexico, came back home, and I was supposed to go to Norway and then to the US. So it's a lot of traveling all the time, and right now it gives me the time to reset. So, and to take back that time to get back on my feet and go on the strategy part instead of just running around. So I'm actually enjoying the current situation at home and taking care of myself instead of just running around. So so I'm okay with it. Hopefully it won't last too long. Let's put it that way.
Very good. Well, that's great. And so, Marie-Eve, you are a leader in our industry and of kiting, and you're in a male-dominated industry. Can you talk to us a little bit about being a female, a small female, a light female, is you know, kind of a machismo kind of, you know, like perspective is. It's an adventure seekers sport. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be that, or a high adrenaline sport. I don't know if it necessarily needs to be that. Talk to us about being a female in our industry.
Yeah, you know what? I've always been working in male industry, mostly like in an engineering firm in the past and financial area as well. But in the kite industry, it's a little bit, you know, you have to give the extra work to do to make your place actually in the industry. So it's not as easy, I would say. So you need to show your passion way more and to be out there way more just to make your place. Of course, we're not as aggressive kiter than a guy that will just arrive at the beach and do a big kite loop. We're more like sensitive and more like finesse than just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. So for me, it's more work. And the other thing is I really value actually the hard work and doing tricks and doing the proper sport than just like being on Instagram and like show the pretty face or whatever. So I'm not that kind of person. I value the sport by itself, for itself as well. So it's a lot of work, but yeah, I finally made it exactly where I wanted to be. It took me 10 years, but yeah.
Very good. Well, you certainly have worked at it diligently, and I'm just so thrilled about, you know, your best new client, FLYSURFER, and your work and your further teaching. So if somebody was, maybe they watched this interview or listened, and they thought that, you know, that they saw it on their last vacation, or maybe they saw it in Alberta here, and they wanted to get into snow kiting, what are some of the steps? I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, so kiting, we need to start with the trainer kite. So just to get used with the smaller kite, the technique, learn about the wind, learn about the danger of the kite, not the danger, the safety, how to get around the safety and the kite. So we really start with a 2-3 hour session, 2 hour session, I would say, with the trainer kite to understand all of that. And when the client or the person is very comfortable with the kite, then we can move up with the full traction kite, which has the 4 lines and the bar and the power and the power of the kite. So, and then we can go in the water. So everyone learns differently. Sometimes some people learn very fast, or other learn a little bit slower. So we just work with everyone to make sure that the person learn at his rhythm.
Very good. Okay. And so it's basically starting out with lessons, and you can do that
Totally.
12 months a year. I mean, and it may, is there an advantage to learning on traction on snow versus water? Is there?
Yeah, it's actually faster on snow. Like I like on one session, one person can be on a traction kite right away on snow if the conditions are right. So and moving with the skis going upwind. So that's totally possible. On water, it's a little bit more tricky because you have to work with the water as well. So you cannot just like say, hey, I'm tired, I'm gonna stand in the water. It doesn't work that way. So it takes longer, of course, but we work around it. Snow is the best. So learning
Interesting.
on snow, yeah.
Just speaking, I mean, maybe for our viewers and listeners as well. When I learned, I thought that I would like to learn to kite, like when the industry began, like in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But having kids and all that, young kids at home, and just having so many other interests, I said, I'll do that one later when my kids are older. And so I remember learning about snow kiting, but I thought, who wants to like hold bars in the snow and cold? I'm going to learn on the water. It's like, just seems crazy. Who would ever do this in the winter? But I mean, and so I did learn on water, and very,
Yeah.
very slowly, it was not an easy process because I didn't really go through the steps properly.
Yeah.
And I didn't have sort of a guide or mentor, although I did get lessons infrequently. But in the end, I just encourage, if people are listening and you're open, I mean, either way is fine, water or snow, but I think it's probably a lot easier to learn in the snow. And so open up your mind to that.
Yeah, totally easier. You can just take a break, stop on snow, and yeah, if the conditions are right, yeah, first day you can ride, no problem. So yeah.
And certainly just outside of our area here in Calgary, there's great frozen lakes and fields that are really great to learn on. So
Totally. And take lessons. So the teacher give you the proper equipment to start as well. So there's a lot of beginners that do the mistake of just buying something online, but and they end up with the wrong equipment sometimes. So yeah, just take lessons. The teacher is gonna help you with equipment and safety and moving forward. Yeah, technique.
yeah, a couple other questions. I'd like to know how people can reach out to you if they're interested in learning more about kiting, of course, and or if they're interested in travel and kiting or lessons or all that stuff. Are you on Instagram? Is it the website? Where do we direct people?
So you can use my website at kitesomewhere.com for sure. So that's one way. I'm very active on Instagram and Facebook. So Instagram is great for me. Send me a note at Marie-Eve Mayrand, so in one word. I think you're gonna write it on your link as well. So
yeah, Mary, M-A-R-I hyphen E-V-E dot
yeah.
Maynard,
Mayrand, yeah. So that's the proper way as well, and Facebook as well. So I'm online all the time if I'm not kiting or traveling. So yeah, you can. I'm very fast at answering. Yeah.
Very good. Final question, Marie-Eve, actually not quite the final. What podcast, what are you listening to these days? Audiobooks, reading, what's exciting?
What's exciting? So I listen to a podcast that is called Adventurepreneur. So it's done by Jeremy Jensen. Why I like it that much is people like me actually who start a business that doesn't, people that like to travel or do sports or athletes and how they make a living out of it. So it's very interesting for me because it's exactly what I'm like my situation as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned a lot on strategies and other people like that. So it's very good. And there's a podcast about kite surfing. So I listen to that one as well, which is great. So if you're interested about learning about all the pro rider, yeah, watch that one.
Kite Surf 365, right?
Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Maria, what did we miss? Anything else that our listeners, our viewers should know about Kitesomewhere or blooming marketing? You're in FLYSURFER. Anything else?
I don't know. For now, just like hit me and just come and ride with me. And it's windy right now. One thing I should add is, you know what? People are complaining that they cannot go in the mountains right now. I do too. I would love to go to the mountains and practice any sport that I would like to do it there. But you know what? Kiting, we're still allowed to go. I've still been kiting quite a bit, even with the current crisis. Of course, I cannot teach, but if you want to watch or just take a trainer as well and have fun with it, yeah, we can do it. So it's an individual sport, but also a very big community one. It's great. So yeah, it's a good time to learn.
I've noticed here it is April, what, 28th or something, I think, roughly. There's been people water kiting already in Alberta.
I did.
You did already. I'm not surprised. Oh, wow. That is great. In the last 2-3 days?
Yeah, it's been very cold. Yeah, it was very cold, but but a proper wetsuit, everything is possible. You know what? There's river surfing as well right now downtown, and people still go. Just need the proper equipment, a good thick wetsuit, and go for it.
I saw a picture on Facebook yesterday, or just last night, like, I mean, less than 12 hours ago. And I was like, I just got like this excitement feeling when I saw, what? The people are out kiting already? This is great.
Oh yeah, totally. It's been a week.
It's been a week. Wow. Okay. Well, Marie-Eve, it's been a real pleasure. I look forward to seeing you on the water or on the snow kiting before too long. And thanks so much for being a guest on the show.
Well, thank you so much, and have a great day.
You too.
Bye.